Hello and welcome. This is register number URK17CS183, and today I will be demonstrating our lab experiment number 2, which is basics of forms and fields. So what does form we use for? So basically form can be used for anything that we want to get information from the outer source. Okay, so it can be a form for any exams, it can be a form for any details that we require about any candidate or anyone. So we use forms in variety of styles. So we are going to learn here how we design a form. So in our earlier videos, as we have determined why we use doc type HTML and the meta characters and the viewport, so we have already discussed this. So let's directly jump into our form attribute, and first we'll see how we have created a form. So here we have created a application form for examination details, like for a candidate to put on his detailed information. And as you can see here, we have used a small bit of CSS here, so I'll explain it to you during our uh, course traversal. And as you can see here, we have started here with first examination details application form. I have used styling here for centralizing the application form, so simple head tag. And then we have started here our form. So inside form I have put a method as get. So we have two kind of methods. First is method is gets and the other method is post. So we won't go to the detail of these methods, but then what does method do is whenever we click submit button, it helps us to retrieve all the values that we have given to the following attributes. So we'll see the example of that as well. Let's come to a field set. So what does field set does is field set define a particular field for having a similar kind of questions inside a form. So let's say for example this particular field, which is like this green border completely, it have similar kind of question which is going to determine its paper appearing for. So this is like the field in which we are going to appear for exam, and then examination center, which are both interrelated, and then in which language we are going to give exam. So this all things are interrelated, and that's why we put it inside one field set. And we have similar inside that we are using field set. We have given styling for field set as well, paper appearing for, and then we have given our inputs. So basically input is a tag which we use to determine that we are going to provide input to that particular web page, and then we have inside its attribute called type, name, values. So when we provide type, we'll see into multiple types later as we go on through the whole coding, and we have values as well as names. So the attributes which have similar name are going to be categorized as one class. So whenever if I select a degree and put it as radio, so I can select inside a radio button as only one value as a degree. Okay, so in some other words, I will just show you the example and you will be able to understand better. So let's say this whole things comes under the same class, and I cannot select everything all together. So during radio button I can select only one at a time. So that is how it helps when this thing is determined, radio buttons are determined as one class, we can opt for only one value. And for defining the things like the exam we are going to appear, we can appear for only one exam. Obviously a person who is going for BTech won't be going for B architecture at the same time. Now for examination center, again we have used the same radio button, and language for examination, again we have used the radio button, which is repetitive. And let's come to our second field, which is personal details. So personal details consist of our name, then last name, father's name, mother's name, persons with disabilities, is it true or not, or date of birth or gender. So inside all these input attributes we have following attributes. Type is text because obviously name is going to be string, and then name is something that is going to determine this particular attribute when we get this value. Then we have value by default as Naruto, and then pattern we use basically for defining the constraints for whatever the content is going to be inserted as a value. So Suppose if I put here a to z and small a to z, that particular person, when we try to enter any value other than the character set from a to z or small a to z, it is going to show that the form doesn't match. So the form we are giving is completely text, no numbers, no special characters, and it cannot match. Then we have one more attribute called required, which we use for determining that that particular field needs to be filled. Without it we cannot leave it empty. If we leave it empty, it will show us one and again error that it cannot be empty. Similarly, we have used here in person with disability, again radio, and then name as ability, value as disabled, yes or no we are going to determine. Then date of birth, we have one more type called date. So when we put this particular type as date, I'm going to show you, it can have wait, yeah, here it is. So when we put date as a value, it automatically generates a calendar for us to give it automatic selection. This is the new update with our HTML5, and as you can see here, I can easily select any date I want up till the current years. It's not for the future. So let's see, if we go up, it can go for further as much as future as well. Sorry for mistake, we can go for future as well. Now inside the gender, again we put a radio button for male and female, similar type. Now we come to our field set 3, where we are putting our academics details. So here now we are putting pattern as 09, and this thing values, it can be varying from 0 to 9. So let's see how does it look here. So this is whole academic details of our candidate, whoever candidate is, and then we are giving all the details as qualifying examination, CS of passing, etc., and then address of school and college. So let's go to our code and check what things are there. So here we have used pattern again as text here, and this pattern is for numerical values, and in this thing says that it needs to be 4 digit values, because we are determining 4 here. Then we have go down. Okay, so here we are going to determine, and the text, there's something missing, is like text area, I guess. Okay, fine. So we have determined a small address called text area. So text area is also kind of input, but here we particularly don't use input tag. But then text area is something for determining a little long paras, and we can determine the max length for it. As well as we have attribute called maxn, which is used to determine the minimum length and maximum length. Then we have something called email, and this pattern is specifically made for email, and it is for determining the number of characters that can be inside a mail. Similarly, we'll have our fourth field set, which consists of our password, photograph upload, and signature upload. So in this particular input type, we recommend it as type password. So when we go for our type password, as you can see, it is automatically not showing the actual text that we are typing there, because it knows that the type is password. So password have a particular pattern which determines that we have to use a special character, a small character, as well as one capital character, which is a mandatory thing. And then it is one of the most concern that we are determining here. It is determining that password needs to be from 18 to 13 characters. Without it, the password won't be accepted. Then we have a photograph upload. So in this input we have a type called file and accept as image. So this thing, it's not mandatory to upload an image, but then this is the type. So when we put type as file, it automatically give us a section to browse our file as well as select the file. So let's go and check this part as well. So see, as you can see, it is giving us choose file option, and when we choose a file, let's for example choose an image file only, and then I've chosen any image file, and then showing the file that is right now being there, and then we can simply upload our data. So let's just fill out this form and see how the get method works. So I'm just going to fill out this form. And I'm not gonna just put anything in the second file which need not to be given, and let's see. So as you can see here, it's asking me to fill out this field. So let's say, so I have put it as mandatory, means required, which cannot be left empty. And let's see this thing in a notepad, and we'll be able to understand how get method is working. So as you can see, this thing is completely giving us the detail with the names that we have given it. So this is our basically website detail. Then see the attribute we are giving, that degree is B plan, then center is Mac and Mac department. Okay, then language is Hindi. So it's giving everything in from our this search bar only. So this get method have a few constraints, that it can be saved in cache, and that's why it's not very safe. So we don't recommend using it as our method if the application needs to be some really important data. We'll talk about our methods details in later applications and later videos. So this is our complete second experiment, as we have completely executed successfully. Thank you so much for watching.